Good morning, everyone. A little bit of foreign news to start the day. Foreign news in headlines, because, well, that's all we've got time for. Global News is reporting that Boris Johnson's Brexit agenda is defeated. Rebels seize control. So basically, it looks like there's going to be a general election in the United Kingdom, basically on Brexit. So they're going to have another vote. Yep. And Hong Kong, China, seems to have backed down on one key point. So Hong Kong Free Press is reporting, quote, Hong Kong to officially withdraw extradition bill from legislature, but still no independent commission of inquiry. So, I mean, this is a big deal, but I'm not sure it's going to stop the protests. But it might take the will of the people, and if it takes the will, it'll take the wind out of the sails. It's interesting. It's an interesting move. Anyway, here is into Canadian headlines, and then we'll get into the meat of this video. Justin Trudeau projected to be the largest debt accumulator in Canada's history, the Fraser Institute, the Post-Millennial. So this is the Post-Millennial reporting on a Fraser Institute study. The link is in the description. I'm not going to read it right now. If there's interest, let me know and I will read it. But at this point, I'm going to focus on crime. Crime of non-citizens in Canada. Global News is reporting, and both of these articles came out at almost exactly the same time of day, yesterday. Here we go. Alleged ISIS supporter to be released after federal court rejects appeal. An alleged ISIS supporter was expected to be freed in British Columbia after the federal court dismissed the government's attempt to keep him in custody while it tries to deport him. Although Othman Ayad Hamdan, and I've talked about Hamdan before, I'm going to call him Hamdan. Okay. Has been deemed a danger to the security of Canada. On Tuesday, the court upheld an Immigration and Refugee Board decision ordering his release. Considering all of past, the circumstances and mitigation of danger looking forward, I find that the members' decision to release Mr. Hamdan was reasonable, the court ruled. The Jordanian citizen has been ordered out of Canada for security reasons, but remains in the country as he argues he would be at risk if he is returned to the Middle East. The case is the latest test of Canada's pledge to crack down on online extremism and its ability to deport foreign citizens deemed security threats. While Hamdan has been in immigration custody since 2017, on August 2nd, the Refugee Board ordered him released to live in rural Enderby, BC, with a friend who offered to post a $2,000 bond. Arguing that letting Hamdan out of detention would put Canadians at risk, the Canadian Border Services Agency convinced the court to hold off freeing him while it appealed the release decision. But the federal court has now dismissed the CBSA's appeal, meaning that he can be freed on two dozen conditions, including bans on internet use, driving, and possession of weapons. Hamdan first came to the attention of the RCMP over Facebook posts in support of ISIS following the 2014 terrorist attack that killed 2 Canadian soldiers in Quebec and Ontario. 2 years ago, a judge found Hamdan not guilty of terrorism, but because he is a foreign citizen, the CBSA arrested him to be processed for deportation back to Jordan. A deportation order was issued on the grounds that Hamdan had served the ISIS social media agenda, encouraged lone wolf attacks, and identified infrastructure in Canada which could be targets for attacks. But while acknowledging, quote, there's a level of danger to the public that exists, the IRB member Jeff Rempel ordered his release last month, ruling the conditions that he had imposed would mitigate those risks. The CBSA had argued that Hamdan needed to remain in custody while the agency took steps to deport him and questioned releasing him to Enderby, which is less than a 90-minute drive from the Revelstoke Dam. The dam was specifically identified as a potential target for a terrorist attack in Hamdan's Facebook posts, argued the CBSA, which called his release plan woefully inadequate. The agency also said the bondsperson with whom Hamdan proposed living had also been his roommate when he made some of the online posts that led to his arrest, and had testified that Hamdan had showed him violent ISIS videos. Right, so that's one person. He can't be held anymore. He's being released. 90 minutes to live 90 minutes from a target that he identified in Facebook posts. Great. And here's another one. This is released, 2 hours later. I apologize. I thought it was at the same time, but mid-afternoon, 2 hours later. Global News is reporting deportation of terror suspect halted after Ontario court throws out conviction. Federal officers have abandoned their latest attempt to deport Riyad Jasser after the Ontario Appeal Court threw out his 2015 conviction for plotting to attack a Toronto-bound passenger train. The Canada Border Services Agency had argued at a hearing at Ontario's Bath Prison in March that Jasser, who was born in Abu Dhabi and is not Canadian, was inadmissible to Canada for terrorism. A decision was pending from the Immigration and Refugee Board when last week the Ontario Court of Appeal ordered a new trial for Jasser due to problems with the way his jury was chosen. As a result, the CBSA has asked the IRB to withdraw the deportation case against Jasser, said Melissa Anderson, an IRB spokeswoman. The Immigration Division has granted the withdrawal, she said. Unbelievable, right? I'm not going to go, well, maybe I will go through it. Hold on. I was going to fit more into this video, but I'll cut it off after this. I think this is important to go over. Okay. It was the second time the federal government had tried and failed to deport Jasser, who arrived in Canada from Germany on a false passport in 1993 and made a refugee claim that was rejected. Within a few years of his arrival, Jasser accumulated criminal convictions for writing bad checks and other frauds for uttering threats after he was told to leave a bar in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Officials tried to deport him at the time, but the United Arab Emirates would not accept him, nor would Germany or Jordan, and he was declared stateless and released from custody. This is me. That seems weird. Back to the article. He later obtained pardons for his crimes and applied for permanent residence, which he received in 2012, the same year he allegedly began plotting an al-Qaeda-linked terrorist attack in Canada. Together with the Chitlab Estrater, a Tunisian, I'm sorry, I've got that name wrong, Tunisian living in Montreal, Jasser was arrested by the RCMP in 2013 over a foiled conspiracy to derail a passenger train as it approached Toronto. He was convicted 4 years ago, prompting the CBSA to resume efforts to deport him once his sentence expired, and on March 29, 2019, an official questioned Jasser at the Bath Institution. In his responses to the CBSA questions, Jasser confirmed he was born in the United Arab Emirates, was not a Canadian citizen, and had been convicted of charges including conspiracy to commit murder for a terrorist group. We argue that Mr. Jasser's convictions are within the definition or a terrorism offense. Of a terrorism offense, I assume that means. The CBSA representative argued. The minister submits that we have met the burden and that Mr. Jasser should be found inadmissible. Jasser's lawyer argued the hearing had, quote, not been conducted in a fair manner, and it would be improper to find Mr. Jasser inadmissible after following an unfair process. Because the Ontario Court of Appeal was reviewing his conviction, it was wrong to hold inadmissibility proceedings, the lawyer said. This proceeding should not have gone that far, the lawyer said. The Public Prosecutor Service said it intends to hold another trial, but no date is set. So this is a tale of two people who have conspired to commit murder, conspired to commit terrorist attacks, came to Canada illegally, are both not Canadian citizens, and yet we have absolutely zero control over these people. What in the world is going on in Canada? What is happening? This is incredible. And this doesn't make me feel safe at all. This doesn't make me feel like the government knows what it's doing. This doesn't make me feel like our courts haven't become completely corrupted by people who think that violent criminals belong out on the streets. I don't understand the reasoning in either case. Neither makes sense. Both are making threats. Both have had conspiracies with people to commit terrorist acts in Canada and threatened places in Canada. Why are they being released? Why are these judges deaf to the pleas of the people who want to keep these criminals behind bars, these terrorists behind bars? It's incredible. It's incredibly concerning. Thanks for watching, everybody. Another video is coming right up. I've already got my link set up, so I'm just going to continue recording. So thanks for watching. Check out thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca and have a wonderful, wonderful